If you're in the market for studio monitors and you're a beginner or intermediate home studio owner, you make music in your bedroom or in your spare room at home, and you want some decent studio monitors, this video is for you. I have over 20 years experience with using different monitors. I've had 5 different types of studio monitors in my music career. I have a couple of things you should consider. After that, I will give you some tips on getting the most out of your studio monitors. So stick around. There are 2 reasons why you want studio monitors, and the first reason is that you want to be inspired when you make music. When producing, you're after something that gives you a pleasurable listening experience. So you don't want those really clean, neutral, grotty sounding boxes that I have right in the back there. These are the Yamaha NS10s. They're perfect for mixing, but for producing music, they're quite dull sounding. Now the second reason is that you want something neutral to mix in. These monitors here are perfect for mixing. They're not good sounding, but they reveal a lot of issues in the mix. There are 2-way monitors such as these and the KRKs, the HS7s, many of the reasonably priced Genelecs are 2-way, and there's 3-way speakers, which are, for example, the Neumann's 310 and the Focals right here, as you can see here. And you also have 1-way monitors, such as the Auratones, which sounds almost like these ones. They're good for mixing, but for pleasure listening, they're not that good. They have an advantage in that sound is only coming from one element. There's no crossover frequency. You talk about crossover frequency when, for example, you pair a set of speakers with a subwoofer. There's usually a crossover frequency around 60 hertz or 80 hertz or something. In that area, there will be some sort of distortions or unnaturalness happening. Something will alter, just to be aware of that. When it comes to studio monitors, most of them, at least in the budget market, are 2-way, which means that the crossover frequency is about 2000 to 2500 hertz. That's where everything switches from one element to the other, from the bass cone and to the tweeter, and it will happen something there. So typically the higher quality the speaker, the less issues with this crossover frequency. Next up is a question: should you have a subwoofer or not? If you want to really have a pleasurable listening experience and you want to pump up the music loud and you want to you want to have a party in your studio, go for the subwoofer. KRK have one, Yamaha have one, and etc. If you want subwoofers for hearing the bass, what you need to do then first is to have a really tuned in room with a lot of acoustic treatment. It needs to be quite big, this room. It can't be a small bedroom like the one I'm sitting in right now. And you might consider having 2. You need at least several 5 figures to pull that off. What I do, I mix with the NS10s. They costed me $500, and then I bought a preamplifier for the speakers because they're passive, and that costed around $300. I bought it secondhand, roughly $800 in total. And then I have a couple of headphones. I have these babies right here. They are the Shure 1840. They're around $500. They're open back, which means that sound is being let out of the cans for a more open experience. I use those to check bass. You also have the 2 fingers on the cone trick. Inconsistent vibrations on the cone here. Maybe there's some interference with the bass there. Another thing to consider when purchasing monitors is whether or not they're front or back ported, or not ported at all. And by ports, I mean there's a bass port somewhere on your speaker. The NS10s are without a port, which means that they don't represent bass that well. The KRKs are typically front ported. The Yamahas are typically back ported, the HS series at least. With back ported speakers, you should have them away from the wall as much as possible. Front ported are a bit better in that case. You can have them closer up to the wall. And so if you have a small room, consider front ported speakers. I would recommend the KRKs, the Generation 5 KRKs. They even have some interesting functions called, I think it's called modes. So they have producer mode, they have mixer mode, so you can switch. It's like an EQ shape. Many monitors have these adjustments on the back. You can adjust how much bass and how much treble is coming out of the speakers. Some monitors even have internal DSP, digital signal processing, DSP. It's basically that the monitors are interpreting the incoming signal and they do something digital with it and pushes it out from the cones as good as it can be. Yet another thing to consider when purchasing a new set of monitors is the aesthetics. I had the KRK with the 8-inch driver and they were black with yellow linings, and my wife didn't allow it. It didn't blend well with the interior that we were having, so I got a white pair of HS7s instead, which sounded a bit worse, but that's another story. Consider how they look and how they feel, because ultimately you want to be inspired when you make music, and if your monitors look good, I think you will make better music as well. The final thing that is really important to consider when buying a new studio monitor is just lowering the shoulders. You will learn the speakers no matter what. If you buy a set of cheap speakers, you will learn them. You will reference with other speakers, with hi-fi systems, Bluetooth speakers, AirPods, car. As you learn them, you will have less need for checking in other places. If you're displeased with the sound of them or something, maybe it's your room, because your room is more important oftentimes than the actual speakers. Whatever the sound waves bounce off of has more impact than the speakers themselves. That's my experience. Here comes 4 tips on how to get the most out of your studio monitors. Tip number 1 is have 2 pairs of studio monitors. If you have a pair of full range monitors, you might want to consider having an Auratone, just one in the middle, just for mono and for hearing things from a different perspective. Some audio interfaces have this switch that you can press. My Apollo has it, and I know that many other audio interfaces has it too. You can just hit a switch and then you can listen to another set of speakers. Tip number 2, there's an app called Sound ID. It's a plugin and a standalone application. It comes with a directional microphone and you can use them to calibrate your speakers in your room, and the application will create an EQ curve for you so that your speakers are as flat as possible sounding according to the room that you're in. It's really amazing. I have it, I use it, and I'm really pleased with it. And you can switch back and forth and you will really hear the difference. And it's also a difference between the 2 speakers. Each speaker will get its own EQ curve. Also, you can use them for headphones to make them even more flat sounding. Sound ID. I will link to it in the description down below. Next tip, the tonal balance control from Isotope. It's basically a metering plugin that you can insert as the last plugin in the chain in your mix, and it will show you an average representation of thousands of songs in your genre. For example, if you're in the hip-hop genre, you can have the hip-hop curve, and it also lets you import your own music, your own favorite reference tracks, and it will make a curve based on those. You can import hundreds of MP3s and it will analyze it for you and make a curve. The final tip is the Mix Checker. It's a plugin that you can insert as the last plugin in your mixing session on the stereo out, for example, and you can hit several buttons that are different speaker setups. So it will emulate, for example, your car or hi-fi system or whatever to give you more perspective on the mix. You can get it with the Lander package. I'll link it down in the description below as well. Also linked down in the description below are my favorite studio monitors listed out in different price ranges. So use the resources that I have down in the description. And if you're interested in more hardware and music equipment, gear, check out one of these videos right there. And I hope I see you there. Peace out.